Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hi everybody. So today's actually going to be kind of a short day because I've got a ton going on. I'll explain more in The Week in Bryan. But I did have a topic come across my desk this week that I really wanted to share with you guys and just kind of get some conversation going, get some of my ideas out in the universe, and hope that I'm right, because I really hope that I am, for lots of reasons. So let's get into it. First and foremost, painting. So I primed the noodle bar. I got the door and the shutter both painted, and then now I have to sand. I have to sand the places where they slide in, because now that they're painted, it's not a perfect, easy sliding fit. So I need to sand those down and like kind of grind out the slots a little bit so they'll fit a little better. But I got those done or got that started, and I mentioned last week that I had started a couple of the Wave 2 Warzone models that I have 3D printed, basically kind of pre-finished, not they might need tweaked by the fabricator eventually, but I also got to field them this week. We'll talk about that in gaming. A couple of the Immaculate Furies for the Dark Legion. Dun, 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 dun. See if I can get one. They're painted identically, so if I can get one to focus, it'll be like you're looking at both. Oh, there we go. No, almost. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So that is an Immaculate Fury with a Soul Shearer rifle. Very cool critter. And got a chance to field him this weekend in a playtest game. And he did okay. We'll get into that in a second. So yeah, I'm actually getting back to painting. I kind of dusted off my brushes, in some cases literally, and was like, you know what, I need to start getting back to it. And so I got those done. I primed the thing. I started working on a model for a fan, and started working on a sniper for my Necromunda team. So got some stuff working on there. Personal wise, my back has not been great for the first like hour of every day. I think it might be my bed, it might be my pillow, it might be that my weight is settled into a different position around my spine. I don't know. I really don't know. And I am terrified to go to the doctor and find out that something is wrong with me. So I'm just continuing to go to the gym, taking it easy. Not I'm still working on things. I'm trying to lose weight and get better shape, and that always seems to help a lot of my aches and pains. So maybe that'll make this go away too. But if it persists, if it really continues to stay bad, I think if it stays the way it is all the way through till Origins, when I get back from Origins, I may actually have to go to the doc and see what's up. Because it has been hurt for too long, and it's hurt in a very weird way. So it is what it is. Like I said, it only hurts for the first like hour of the day, and maybe like if I sit and say sedentary for too long, it might hurt. Yeah, so I'm working on it. Kids are out of school. Kids are getting ready. One of them's getting ready for summer school. One of them's getting ready to go on a trip with their dad before they come back and go to their summer job. So yeah, it's just summer is officially upon us. Yay! I guess. Gaming wise, I was supposed to play Rifts, my Rifts game last week, and that ended up not happening. And honestly, totally ended up not happening because of me. That night, right before the game, one of my walls sprung a leak because of the thunderstorms, and one of my wife's really big, super crazy expensive gallery oil picture frames came crashing off of the wall, shattered all over the floor. I have since called the insurance company to get them to come out and take a look at replacing the drywall, and I'm sure it's going to cost me a small fortune, and I'm trying. I smile through it, just when you think you're starting to get ahead. But the insurance company seems to be taking this pretty seriously, and we're just kind of dealing with that. And that night, I was just not in the headspace to remotely deal with it. I was like, nope, I can't. I don't even want to talk to humans. I just want to look at the TV and try not to cry. But nobody was hurt. Just the wall, just the picture, so forth and so on. None of the dogs, none of the cats. So small victories. And then on that last weekend, I hosted a playtest day of a bunch of the Graviton Protocol scenarios, and a handful of the Wave 2 figures that are still in playtest, but they've been through a lot of playtesting. So I felt very comfortable kind of throwing them in the mix. And it was a great day. What a wonderful day! It was, we ended up getting 3 games in. We played the first Graviton Protocol scenario once, and the second Graviton Protocol scenario twice. And what was cool about it, and I had, this is a kind of getting the final tweaks on this as well. I was like, just, everyone's having a good time and whatnot, and when questions arose, you'd leap off my table and be like, hey, what's going on? But one of the things that at the end of the day, and I did the tally, I felt really good about those scenarios with the changes and alterations that we made, because one game came to a complete tie, and both of the other games came within 1 point. So it was like a 10 victory points versus 11, or 9 versus 10. And what that meant to me is dice were generally pretty standard. No one was really complaining about, their dice were, oh, god awful, horrible, it's the worst thing ever. We didn't really have any of that, or at least if we did, no one mentioned it. So average dice, average forces. People built their forces to be competitive but still fun, and no like super crazy spammy lists or anything like that. And the games were all close, and everybody had a good time. In fact, we had a couple of visitors from our gaming group, our collective gaming group, that play a lot of 40K, that were hung around long enough to basically go, this looks pretty cool. When are you guys, when is this going to be in stores? So like it was a really good day. It was a really positive day, really awesome day. And I was very, very glad to hear the responses from my playtesters, the responses from my people who are my locals, and a couple of people that came by to see my the demo models that I had, and they were like, "Man, these have come a long way." So it was just it always feels good to know when veteran wargamers look at my game, that look at our game and go, you guys are doing a good thing here, because they play all the time. They're at the game store to play games. They've played games for 10, 15, 20 years, and there's such a huge sense of validation when you have someone who normally is very skeptical, very negative about anything that's not Games Workshop, and they look at it and go, man, this is pretty tight. When is it coming out? That's awesome. And I had that on Saturday multiple times. So a big plus to that. Also, it's just fun to get out there and play and get to use things. Yes, I'm using things that are not completely tested, and yes, I'm using things that some people don't know about, but that's how we get them into testing. That's how we get them through this process, so we can eventually get them to a point where Alex and I can add them to the queue to be released. We also, speaking of more, you know what, that's really all the games I played, apart from some Payday 3. And by the time this video comes out, I will probably have started playing a bunch of Hypercharge. So super excited about that. Or, because now I'm talking to you from the past, I'm already excited about it. I've already had a good time. I don't know. What else? Oh, work stuff. Still waiting to hear back from Catalyst about getting the second novel, or I shouldn't say second, it's like more like fifth novel at this point, to get the next novel started. Very excited to get words down on the page for that. Sinking my teeth into some very fun Essence 20 work. Intergalactic Heroes manuscript proceeds and is coming along. God, I can't wait for you guys to actually get to see the fruits of all that, because it is, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. It is turning out to be a hell of a game. And I think that sci-fi fans and Everyday Heroes fans and hell, just some 5e fans are going to find some really cool stuff to use in that. And honestly, I'm looking forward to even just getting some of the playtest games in and some of the preview specials, like special guest scenarios that I'm going to run at Gamehole. So it's just, again, it's a good time to like sci-fi role-playing. Apart from that, Ego proceeds. In fact, actually, I think next week's episode, I'm probably going to devote to discussing how the Ego program works and how you should be taking advantage of that at conventions, like Origins and Gen Con, for instance. Let's see. Yeah, talked about Warzone. Talked about oh, speaking of Warzone, so Alex put out the update to tell everybody that things are going to print, things are in layout. Here's some stuff. Models are being made. I mean, like things are really moving along to get that Kickstarter fulfilled, and get things out to you guys and to retailers. And I'm like, it's becoming very real. In fact, part of that update, Alex sent out 2 sample stories, 5 Whys by David Voderberg and Mother May I by this guy. And on our Discord and on Facebook, I'm starting to hear some people talk. I love it. I love hearing people talk about our fiction. I love hearing the fans, especially the fans that have been with the Mutant Chronicles for a really long time, hearing them go, I love your take on this, or I've always thought this and you expanded on it. Like, it's, I know we're doing the right thing. I know we're doing good stuff, and I'm hoping the fans will realize and know that too, and spread the word, grow the thing. I know Alex is somewhere out there. His ears are burning, and he would tell me, Brian, I don't know if I've got the bandwidth for all that. I want this game to take the hell off. I want Warzone Eternal to be the thing that people go, hey, are you guys coming to this convention? Is there going to be a tournament played? That's what I'm hoping. But yeah, so just, it's been great. It's been great. And I am a very happy Brian. Let's get to the topic. Speaking of gaming and Games Workshop and stuff, so late last week, or mid last week, I think, the people over at Games Workshop, during their preview show, showed off a bunch of new stuff for one of my favorite Games Workshop games, Necromunda. Necromunda, for those people who don't know, is a skirmish level campaign-style gang warfare warfare game where you take on the persona of one of many gang factions or related factions in the world of Necromunda, which is this kind of hive, Coruscant-esque. There are nobles that live on the top spires and down in the pits and the dirt, and apparently now there are also ash wastes where there are people that ride around on mole crickets, which is cool. It's a very, very cool setting set in the 40K universe that has always had a place in my heart. It's a low model count, but each model is an individual character that gains skills and has their own equipment, and it's just very, very cool. And you play scenarios, and if you're playing a campaign, you gather territories, and you send your gangers to work the territories, and things can happen there, and it's very, very cool. And I've been playing it off and on for 20 years, I think. And it's been through several iterations, very different times of being supported, unsupported, fan supported, and now back to GW supported, new models, old models, you name it. And my local game group decided, we had a Necromunda campaign a couple of years ago, and it sort of fizzled out when one particular person, Nick, his gang got too good. His gang was just insane, impossible to beat, and at that point we all kind of raised our hands and were like, he won. It was madness. And then a bunch of new stuff came out over the course of those last 2 years. And the rules got adapted, and a couple of weeks ago we started talking about how we were all kind of missing it. Let's start up a new campaign. And at roughly about the same time, at one of the Warhammer preview shows, they showed a new big box set that's going to have a bunch of cool new stuff in it. Hopefully releasing soon, or at least I'd like it to release soon, because 2 of the models... Now, this picture I'm about to show you has 3 models on it, but ignore the little gray baby, because although that is very cool for the universe, it's the first time we've seen that model, it's not relevant to what we're talking about today. So I'm going to show you this picture, and it is showing something that... Well, I'll just tell you in a second. So check these out. Rad, right? Those are pretty freaking cool. So what those are 2 Orus Spyrers. Now, they're calling them Spire Hunters. They're making it a little easier on the mouth. And I guess just kind of detailing it. And that particular model is called the Orus, O-R-R-U-S. Now, I'm going to back it up a little bit. The old Necromunda, so back in the day, they introduced Spyrers before, and Spyrers were initially four models. There was the Orus, and then there was the Malkadon, the Jakara, and the Yeld. Those were the 4 specific types of Spyrer. And what Spyrers are, I mentioned how Necromunda's got a bunch of towers, like where the nobles live up on the spires. Well, Spyrers are basically noble brats. They are nobles who want to go trophy hunting down in the hive. They want to go down and make a name for themselves. So they buy and create and they basically fund and design these really technologically advanced suits of armor and special weapons and things to protect the noble and give them a serious leg up on these, you know, kind of hive scum and gang members down in the hives. And then they go down and they go trophy hunting. They basically, it's not about working territories. It's not about, I need to scrape up the credits to get my next thing. It's not about that at all, because they're rich. They're like crazy, super rich. They live in the penthouse. They're down there for kicks. They're down there for bragging rights. They're down there to take trophies and get glory so they can go back up and tell all their rich friends about that time they went down to the hive and took out that Orlok leader. Like that. I love the concept, and I loved the concept back then. And I had collected Spyrers back then. Basically, you had a very, very small gang. Like, gangs normally are 8-9 people. A Spyrer gang starts off normally as 2, maybe 3, and you might add a 4th or a 5th down the road when you get cool enough, as this like hunting team. And I loved them to death. I thought they were super cool. They had their own, each type of Spyrer had their own gear and their own skill set and their own, like, they were their own individual special characters. These like kind of individual bounty hunters. And in the Warhammer preview just last week, they show off these. They show off the Horus Spyrers that are part of that box. And the Horus Spyrer was, of the 4, they were the heaviest. They were the biggest, the power armorists. They had these big, like, power fists with bolter racks on the backs of their hands. And they were strong, they were tough. I mean, they were really, really cool. But they were slow, and they were the heavy platform, basically, for the Spyrers. These Horus, looking at them, so there's 2 versions. I keep glancing over because I got the picture up over on my side monitor. So they got these 2 pictures. In fact, actually, I'm going to swing it over here so I can see it better and so I can still talk to you. So there's these 2 versions that they've got there. Neither of them are the standard, like the old way. The old way looked very much like just kind of power armor. These almost look like they might be like bodies in a bottle. Like fusion-powered robotic bodies with like head and organs, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't seem like their people could fit in there nearly as well. Which does kind of fly in the face of the idea of these nobles that kind of just come down for kicks. Like, this seems like it's probably a choice. Now, it also might just be that, their body is kind of operating from deeper within or whatever. I mean, like, so I'm sure we'll know more when we get to read more about them. But one of the things that I was very interested in is the fact that we have these 2 here, and they are armed differently. And one of the things that was the Spyrers were all about is you picked a suit, you picked the armor that you had, and that's what they were. The Horus had those power fists and bolter arrays, and that's what they had. And this guy, there's 2 of them here. There's one that's got a clawed fist, like talons, almost like Abaddon's hand from the Chaos Army, that's got bolters on the back. So he still has the hand bolters, but he's got like almost like spiky fingers. And then the other one has, instead of fingers, it's got pincer claws. And on the backs of the pincer claws, or I guess the side of the pincer claws, it looks like they almost maybe have like concussion rifles or maybe Volkite weaponry, something. It is definitely not a bolter, and it doesn't look like a shotgun, and it doesn't look like the coils aren't painted like a plasma gun, and so it makes me wonder if, obviously, the Horus is going to have options now, which is cool. That's neat. That's going to have some. It's not just here standard. But I want to know what that other thing is. Is that like the claws are like for ripping down bulkheads or what? And one of the things that I noticed very early on, and one of my friends noticed it too, is that they've got those 2 Horus painted to match almost directly match the box art Van Sars, one of the gangs, one of the technologically advanced gangs. And initially I was like, oh man, please don't make this, please don't make the Spyrers into just bounty hunters that can only work for one team or something like that. That would hurt my soul, because I want to be able to play as the Spyrers again. And while I was like, oh, they are just an add-on in this box set, and the box set has Vansar stuff, and God, I wonder if they're just going to be a part of the Vansar gang. And while I was hem-hawing and making a bunch of fuss, a second picture was released. And that picture is this. So they are obviously going to put out either, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be a box rather than individual blisters, but they're going to put out more Spyrers. And this includes the 3 other primary Spyrers in that box. There's the Jakara, which has a like energy shield with a gun on it and a sword. There's the Malkadon that has poison gun, like stunning web spinnery type things, and then the old one just had kind of like claws. This one's got like claws, like these long, spindly, like almost like knife, like small swords for fingers. And that one was the stealth, kind of like a stealth assassin. And then there's the last one, the Yelled, which has lasgun van braces. So there's like lasgun pistols on the backs of their arms, and then bladed wings that allow them to fly around and cut people. It's a very, very cool, and there's one of those, and that's set up exactly the same way. Which makes me believe that either they are just leaning real hard in and making the Vansar, they're all just Vansar mooks. But I'm thinking it's probably more along the lines of they're just using that green as the technologically advanced armor of the Hive, perhaps. And the fact that they're including all of the different Spyrers, minus there were 2 others that came out very late in Necromunda's, it was like 2nd edition. There was a Matriarch and a Patriarch, and they were bad models, and they weren't well received. They just kind of like tacked on, rather than coming up with new versions of Spyrers, they tacked on 2 leader style characters. One had like a shock stick cane thing, and the other one had like mechadendrites, so like Dr. Octopus. I was not a fan. I honestly, I was just like, why do you don't need any of that. But it is what it is. That was something that was available back then. Looking at this box, I think I might, and here is where our here's where this video becomes me putting energy out in the universe and hoping that somebody at Games Workshop hears this, listens to this, contacts me to design for them, and then executes this plan. So yes, this box, the secondary box, or secondary advertisement, has a Jakara, it has a Malkadon, it has a Yelled, but there's also a 4th one there, and the 4th one is equipped like a Malkadon on one arm, a Jakara on the other, and has a completely different face rig. So here is my theory. Put on your tinfoil hats. My theory is that this box, so the Oris that comes in the box set, the Orises, Orosauruses, I don't know. The Oris Spyrers that come in that big box, they are, the closest thing to like a shock troop that the Spyrers get. And it makes sense for you to probably have 2. Because they are your primary shooty guys. They are your primary, they take the brunt of most of the hits. They're gonna be like the spine of most Spyrer forces. They're gonna be your big backbone. Whereas the other three, the Malkadon, the Yeld, and the Jakara, are far more scalpel precision. You know, you're trying to take out very specific forces with them. You're not going to send a Malkadon after a Sump Gator in a Goliath, or some big chem boss, or an Ambot. You know, you are going to send a Jakara to deal with somebody who has a close combat monster. Yeld is going to be the guy who goes, oh, your sniper that's up there on the tower, I'm going to get there because I can freaking fly, and I'm going to cut you down. So they're all more specialist forces, whereas the Oris is kind of an all-comer. You know, I can hit you up close, I can shoot you, I can take a hit. I don't do anything poorly, and I'm just kind of I am the brute squad. So it makes sense, I think, that there are two in that box. This expanse box, it's got one of each of the super specialists, and then it's got this fourth one. This fourth one that's got two different Spire type equipment and a different headpiece, and she is definitely female. So I think the rules might include the ability to take a matriarch, or maybe they'll have one entry for patriarch / matriarch, and basically it's a leader of a Spyrer gang. Because the leaders always had the best access to abilities, they had the best access to taking different gear across all of the Necromunda gangs. And I was thinking this, and I was like, how cool would this be if that fourth model is the patriarch / matriarch, or maybe we'll just call it the Spyrer hunt leader or team leader or whatever. And rather than the Malkadon has this and the Yeld has this, maybe it's make two choices from this list. And one of them is a Malkadon Spinner Claw, and one of them is the Jakara shield gun, and one of them is the Jakara power blade. You know, like, I think that's my best. I hope. I think that'd be really cool to have, like, kind of everybody else follows the suit like you think they're going to, and then the leader gets to kind of pick and choose a little bit of what they want to become the one that the one that leads the team because they're the coolest. And if that's the case, if I'm right and that's where it lands, I will be a very, very happy Necromunda player when that stuff comes down, because I really do like these models. I think the models are very cool. They're very different than the old ones, but they still have that reminiscent feel of the old ones. Like, I looked at, there was no question. I looked at it and went, oh, that's this. And with the exception of the Oris's biomechanical, or like, I shouldn't say biomechanical, the cybernetically mechanical giant suit, they all are very recognizable. And if someone sat me down and was like, what is this? If they told me it was a Necromunda model, I would go, oh, that's this. I would know right off the bat. And but I also like what I see. I think it's a cool stylization. I'm not going to paint mine in Vansar green, that's for sure. I'm right now, I'm just really hoping that they are not just add-ons to other gangs, and they do have the ability to be their own gang. Specifically, hopefully through taking that, multi-weapon leader model. And that's what I hope, and that's I'm putting money on it that I'm right, and I hope that this stuff comes out soon, because while I love my little Palanite, enforcer super cops, just knowing that Spyrers are on their way has me so much more excited for Necromunda than anything else. I'm over the moon about it. And I really hope that I'm right, and I hope that it comes quickly. And that's really all I wanted to tell you guys this week. I just want to really kind of wow about the Spyrers and talk about Necromunda and talk about, you know, something that I don't work for that I'm jazzed about. So, yeah, I hope that that was entertaining for you guys. Tell me anything about in the comments, any of you Necromunda players out there. Anybody who watches this that has the inside tip on what this is going to be or gets the news, feel free to let me know. Yeah, and just this is, it's summertime. Necromunda is time for summer, or summer is time for Necromunda. That's what I meant to say. Summer is also time for you guys to please be safe. Get your shots, wear a mask, don't lick doorknobs, wash your damn hands. Just try not to be a jerk about things, you know? That's what it matters. Don't find negativity everywhere that maybe it's not there. Maybe someone saying that they're super excited for something that you're doing is not passive aggressive. Maybe someone who doesn't like something, it's because it doesn't vibe with them, not because they are anti something else. Just, you know, try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there, and I think the world would be a better place. So until next week, everybody, be safe, have fun, play some games.